Welcome back. My name is Matt Reiners, and I'm the co-founder of Eversound, which was recently acquired by Uniguest, a company committed to developing engagement technologies to help communities connect and improve quality of life for older adults. Today, I'm joined by the other Matt Goche, the CEO of Uniguest. Matt was an officer in the United States Air Force. Thank you for your service, sir.
Thank you.
Has held various roles in cyber technology and global security, and has also been Uniguest's chief operating officer, president, and now chief executive officer. So thanks for joining me today, Matt.
My pleasure, Matt. This is a great podcast, great information on the industry and technology within the industry. So I'm happy to be invited as the secondary Matt on the show here.
Well, before we get into a debate about that, I do have some other questions here for you. So Matt, I know I shared a little bit about your background, but can you share a little bit of your story and why you're excited to be leading the way here at Uniguest?
Yeah, I appreciate the quick background you gave on me. My entire career has been based on helping organizations improve technology and cyber and kind of advancing digital engagement for their customer base. And so I joined Uniguest, I guess it was about 7 years ago, almost 7 years at the end of this year, as the COO. Now, when I arrived, I guess that was the end of 2016, it was a very different place than it is today. We had one office in Nashville. We were essentially 20% of our current size in terms of employees and revenue. We only focused on US hotels. I mean, heck, we only really had one product. And then you fast forward to today, we have 17 offices around the globe. We've grown to about 440 employees. We're delivering digital engagement solutions to over 25,000 locations in over 100 countries. Our product portfolio has expanded, mobile apps, enterprise video, IPTV, digital signage, interactive kiosk, voice, music, audio key on this podcast, but really full spectrum, right? Full spectrum digital engagement solution portfolio. And so I guess back to your question, like why now? It feels like we've been on a great path, but I'm extremely excited about kind of where the business is today and where we're going, because we kind of have all the pieces in place now to do so much more for our customer base. I love the path we've been on, but it seems like the future is that much brighter.
Yeah, it's so true, right? And it's amazing to see what's happened here at Uniguest, even within your own 6 years of being here. It's remarkable to see the growth and what you guys have been able to do and the impact that you're having, not just here in the States, but having that global presence. And in my time here thus far, I know one of the things that we prioritize and one of the things that I think we're really good at and continuing to get better at is this idea of digital engagement. And I'm curious, like, how would you define digital engagement?
Yeah, it's a great question. When we started the digital engagement kind of marketplace, it was a highly fragmented market, very disparate, many different vendors, a lot of different definitions, and it seemed ripe for kind of advancement. From my perspective, the definition of digital engagement is really the art of interacting with your customers through technology, right? So, now most of our technology is not focused on our customer directly, but it's on our customer's customer. So we're providing our customers with better ability to engage with or interact with their customers, to sell to their customers or message to their customers or end users in a more coherent way. And I think this fits, perfectly well into senior living, where communities, especially ones with, limited resources, which is most of them today, they need a communications force multiplier, like our technology that, not only helps them interact with their residents, but also helps their residents interact with each other. And so that's kind of how I would kind of define digital engagement and just kind of our place in the market.
Yeah, makes sense, right? And I find too with digital engagement, it really helps like open the world up to us, right? It's no more just those four walls around us, but can really allow us to engage with everything and anything. And coming from a place that's a lot crisper, and with being in a 24-hour news cycle too, right? Like with digital engagement, things are always changing, and it gives you that opportunity to do so. And I know we'll get into the senior living side, but Uniguest, like you had mentioned early on, was working with a lot of hotels and now working with a lot of like public spaces. And I'm curious if you can share some insights into the latest technology trends helping to shape the hospitality and public spaces industry.
Yeah, it's a great question. There are many. I'd probably start with the digitization of the public space. This is happening. It's happening in a big way. A couple weeks ago, I was in New York City, and I'm not saying that every building is going to look like Times Square with screens on every wall, but the ability for technology to enhance communications, to improve services will continue. It will continue to grow dramatically, certainly for the foreseeable future. So that's number one. Number two, I would say, is around consolidation and integration. Consolidation of communication channels is occurring. This is why I think we have a right to win in this space. Our digital engagement platform is kind of bringing all of these solutions into one system that helps streamline content development, create consistency, ensure customers stay on message, drive overall engagement. And so we like this trend for the market, but then also going hand in hand with that is integrations. They've always been important, but kind of gone are the days of kind of siloed systems. Every piece of technology that a community installs today, needs to kind of fit into the overall ecosystem, not create more communications gaps. And then lastly, I would say analytics will continue to grow in importance. Kind of using information gathered from the technology, that kind of makes judgments or decisions based on how residents interact with the technology to improve services and outcomes. I think that's going to be a real focus for us in the coming few years.
Yeah, I think you hit it right on the head in terms of what I've seen too, or at least what I believe in. I mean, consolidation, right? It's inevitable. Some of these groups are working with too many companies, and there's too many logins and too many things to do, and like it just needs to get under one thing if we're talking about efficiencies, and everyone's dealing with staffing issues today. So doing that, and how are systems talking to one another, and looking at the data and the analytics behind that to really help shape that. And I know, so we talk about the public spaces and sort of that hospitality side, but Uniguest continues to invest something near and dear in my heart, which is the senior living industry, with multiple acquisitions, including Eversound, continuing to invest money there with the product roadmap. And I'm curious, like, why are you and the team here at Uniguest excited about the senior living industry?
The senior living industry has been a market that Uniguest has been working in and around for many years. But I think of all the markets that we're in today, we believe senior living has the largest CAGR potential for the next 5 years. And I think this is for a few key reasons. One, we see the same aging trends and the demographics that everyone else sees, right? So no surprises there. But two, I think there's a lot of pent-up demand for technology due to the pandemic. Some industries, held back a bit on spending during the pandemic. Senior living was included in that. And so we see, a bit of a rush in some markets to catch up now. Third, and this one's probably intuitive as well for you, I would say that there's a higher technology expectation for new seniors moving in to senior living communities. Certainly today than ever before. Many have smartphones, most are on social media. So the ability to digitize the physical space, to interconnect the community's technology with an individual's technology, and then drive more information to the resident through technology, I think are on the forefront. I think, we plan to be in a position to kind of help, drive growth in that space. And then lastly, I would say, technology is making a difference in residents' lives. Eversound is a fantastic example of that by encouraging activities, enabling activities, providing more useful content, linking seniors to other seniors with common interests in their communities. These are all steps to help drive engagement, fight isolation, and really bottom line is enhance quality of life. And so because of that, we see digital engagement trends and high CAGRs in really all the markets we're playing in, but senior living is top of the heap for kind of those reasons I pointed out from my view.
Yeah, I would agree. What I saw with the pandemic, I think it forced senior living is typically known to be slow when it came to adopting technology, and I think COVID really showed them that they needed to do that, and I think really sparked a lot of momentum to embrace technology, understand its impact, because they were forced to use it, right? And I think what I find with senior living too, it's interesting to see kind of that dynamic, and with the baby boomers coming in, right, to your point, they're used to it. It's no longer just a nice to have, it's an expectation, it's almost a need to have. And I think with what's interesting too with Uniguest, right, helping to bring some of the best and brightest from the hospitality side, working with almost 20,000 hotels, we're able to bring some of the best and brightest into senior living. And I'm curious, like, what do you think? Or is there anything happening on the hospitality side of things that you will think will be the next best thing in senior living?
We've certainly begun to bring a lot of our hotel tech to the senior living space. We've brought IPTV, our voice solutions, which have been a great fit in senior living based on some of the limitations that the elderly have. Our digital directory services, we're bringing digital bulletin boards, we're bringing digital shadow boxes. So kind of all these solutions really are served up from that digital engagement platform that I mentioned. So that's the power of the platform. It can now deliver content to any endpoint through any media. And as we add new use cases or new types of content, the platform just becomes that much more powerful. Some of the other enhancements I see coming, further curated programs and resources to help communities and activity managers kind of get a step ahead in their efforts. And then the one that I'm most excited about is just kind of a full, complete integration of Touchdown and Eversound capabilities, really to kind of maximize the value of both of these solutions. And I think drive that kind of the sum is greater than the parts here as you see them, these different platforms and contents working together to drive results for our communities.
Yeah, right. It's all about the consolidation and integrations and making life easier for the staff members, which in turn will make life better for the residents in those communities, which is, what it's all about. And the next question, Matt, you can take this really any way you want, but what do you see as the biggest challenge or the biggest opportunity for Uniguest in the coming years within hospitality or the senior living industry?
There's certainly a number of different opportunities and challenges, and there is a lot of similarities in some of the challenges in hospitality and senior living, given kind of how they're staffed and what challenges they've experienced over the last few years. I would say the biggest opportunity is one I've kind of hit on already. It's the continuing trend to digitize kind of all of public spaces and improve services through more tech-enabled solutions. And we see, continuing pressure and shortages for labor, and that applies to both hospitality, senior living, and then many other verticals for that matter. And so we think that'll drive more customers toward technical solutions or tech-enabled solutions, such as digital concierge and hospitality, or digital solutions that refresh content in really all of our markets. So we see that as a great opportunity. In terms of biggest challenge, I think that opportunity cuts both ways because we certainly have difficulty in finding talent in certain functional areas like software development or kind of ops center, administrators and managers. So that'll be a continuing challenge for us, especially as we grow and our solutions get more dynamic. We need to ensure that we keep pace from a talent standpoint. And so, with a great opportunity comes a bit of a related challenge here.
Yeah. Hey, it's always the case, right? I mean, with every opportunity, there's challenges that arise, same in every way that you can think about it. And then Matt, my last question here for you, what exciting developments or plans that you can share can we expect from Uniguest in the near future? And how do you envision the company's growth and impact as we move through the next, few years here?
Yeah, Matt, if that's the last question, let me just say
Yeah.
thank you. And I appreciate this podcast, not just giving me an opportunity to speak to your audience, but just what you do for the industry. I think it's obvious that you have deep passion and care, for the senior living industry, for, communities and for the residents. So thank you for that. In terms of your question, we're really still on this journey to take all of our products, whether they were, developed internally through our R&D efforts or whether they were acquired. We're still on this journey to bring them together and provide them to every customer, but ensure they're delivered in a tailored manner for the particular industry that we participate in, right? So we've organized better to meet those needs. We've divided our product management team by vertical or by industry. So so they have a clear order, which is, deliver solutions that are meaningful for that particular industry. And so across our business, we now have mobile applications, IPTV and enterprise video, many different digital signage use cases, digital directories, digital bulletin boards, many different types and use cases of interactive kiosks, audio solutions, which you're an expert in, music solutions, voice solutions. And I think what you'll see over the next year is you'll see kind of each and every one of these being introduced to each of our markets, including senior living, but with the necessary nuance to meet the demands of the particular end users in that market. And so really every customer will have kind of all of their end user communication channels met through our single and unified digital engagement platform. I mean, that's the journey we're on. I think we're making great progress as we've grown over the years, but we're excited for really anyone who wants to jump aboard that journey with us here.
Love it. Well, Matt, it's been an honor and a privilege to talk to you on here. It's always great to meet another Matt with two T's, I must say. But appreciate you steering or leading at the helm here for Uniguest and really excited for what the future holds. So thank you for all that you do every single day.
No, thanks, Matt. Appreciate it. Thanks again.
If you'd like to know when we post the next episode, make sure to subscribe wherever you're listening to this podcast. If you're interested in how Eversound can help improve the quality of life in your community, find out more at eversoundhq.com.